Hello everyone, this is Arnaud Delapia. Today, we're going to tackle a topic that intrigues and captivates at the same time: the underground economy on an international scale. This mechanism, often associated with criminal activities, actually goes beyond this narrow framework and affects much more than simple financial circuits as one might imagine. Before delving into it, I'd like to clarify what we mean by underground. It does not only refer to trafficking or fraud, but all undeclared transactions and processes that escape official control. Let's discover together the workings of this system and its impact on our economies. You'll see, it's quite surprising. Estimates vary, but the hidden economy would represent trillions of dollars, encompassing very different activities. It includes smuggling of illicit goods, but also undeclared work, transactions in undeclared cash or financial transfers through tax havens. The phenomenon spares no continent. It is not strictly linked to organized crime, as some individuals, pressured by economic or fiscal instability, choose to circumvent the official system. This restricts tax collection and harms resource distribution. While altering our way of conceiving traditional finance, it's truly colossal. Really, if we look at the brain of the underground economy, we realize that it's not just a matter of traffickers and gangsters. The phenomenon includes elite accountants, more scrupulous bankers, and shell companies that organize sophisticated circuits. These entities rarely hesitate to use methods like fake invoicing, laundering through legitimate businesses, or using anonymous crypto assets. Each player has their interest. Some seek illicit profit, others want to escape sanctions, and the latter aim to protect their assets when instability catches up with them. In all cases, the scale is impressive. Really. Speaking of financial operations, I invite you to take a look at Notrade, the free app, and Efficient, available on iOS and Android, which allows you to process market phases for your different trades. It lets you, in real time, get indexes that give you scores with ratings that range from 0 to 100 to know if you should position yourself, sell, or simply wait in the markets. Personally, I use this application daily. I invite you to try it since it is free. Let's get back to the underground economy itself. Corruption and under-the-table dealings are common, especially in sectors where regulations are unclear and controls are rare. Officials sometimes accept payments to expedite procedures, while some companies take advantage of the opacity to avoid certain taxes. Bribes don't only involve politicians or senior officials. Mid-level executives can also receive envelopes in exchange for special favors. All these practices shape a parallel ecosystem that often creates unfair competition against those who follow the rules. The ethical and financial stakes are then significant and, one might also say, dangerous. In parallel, there is a vast illegal market for drugs, weapons, or even counterfeit products. The internet, with its hidden corners, facilitates anonymous transactions and makes traceability much more complex. Some clandestine commerce sites offer everything from unauthorized medication to stolen banking data. These criminals employ advanced encryption techniques and often prefer to conduct their business on decentralized platforms. This digital branch is added to the traditional smuggling and transport circuit. At the end of the chain, the illicit products are sold at the public or reinjected into legal businesses to everyone's detriment. Money laundering represents a central pivot of the underground economy. The idea is to disguise the origin of dirty money derived, for example, from drugs or extortion to make it appear legitimate. Concretely, there are three phases: placement into various accounts or sectors, layering through a series of complex transfers, then reintegration into the official circuit in the form of investments or real estate purchases. Criminals use frontmen, shell companies, or refined financial schemes to cover their tracks. This elaborate engineering makes it difficult for authorities to detect when the amounts are split into multiple small transactions. Incredible. Tax havens play a crucial role in these mechanisms. Thanks to favorable legislation and discretion, they attract individuals, that multinationals wishing to limit their expenses or conceal profits. There are banks that do not require much information, thus facilitating the opening of accounts for sometimes fictitious entities. The transfers are then made of societies through shell companies, making investigations difficult without necessarily breaking the law. Some large fortunes optimize their taxes excessively, sometimes motivating governments to tighten the rules a bit. But nothing is that simple, as tax competition is fierce. In recent years, technology has changed the face of this unofficial economy. Cryptocurrencies, initially little known, now offer anonymous and borderless payment channels. Online brokerage platforms now allow these digital assets to be exchanged and then converted into real money without attracting too much attention. Ransomware, for example, relies on these tools to demand ransoms into a decentralized and anonymous currency. Although authorities increase their surveillance, each new invention comes with its share of possible loopholes. We then find ourselves in a cat-and-mouse game. During major financial or political crises, the hidden economy tends to grow further. When trust in institutions decreases and citizens fear for their savings, some turn to informal networks. This can range from cash exchanges to avoid frozen bank accounts, to purchasing essential goods outside official channels. In certain situations, these underground activities become a sort of relief valve for the most vulnerable, even if this does not always protect them from abuse. In troubled times, state controls sometimes weaken, paving the way for more undeclared transactions. From a social standpoint, this type of economy often exacerbates inequalities. Those who have adequate resources and connections take advantage of hidden networks to enrich themselves, while the more modest ones face price increases or shortages of certain products in the legal market. Undeclared workers, sometimes vulnerable, find themselves without social protection or social rights, which worsens their precariousness. When states collect less in taxes, they may cut back on public services like health or education. As a domino effect, the underground economy can lead to a general climate of mistrust and insecurity. It is truly unfortunate. Governments generally respond by tightening their laws and creating agencies dedicated to combating fraud. International collaborations are formed to track suspicious financial flows and exchange information on potential offenders. We also see stricter regulations on cryptocurrencies, requiring some platforms to verify their users' identities. Other countries are cracking down on offshore arrangements by imposing transparency obligations on beneficial owners. However, these measures remain difficult to deploy uniformly, as each jurisdiction follows its own priorities. The outcome of these efforts is often mixed. The private sector is not left behind. Banks and insurance companies must apply AML procedures, that is to say, anti-money lending, to identify and report any suspicious operations. On their side, international firms are trying to better manage their supply chains to avoid purchasing goods resulting from counterfeiting or undeclared exploitation. Specialized audit firms offer their services to verify compliance of operations, and some whistleblowers publicly expose the irregularities they discover. Despite everything, the wrongdoers are redoubling their ingenuity to circumvent these safeguards, showing that the challenge is ongoing and demands constant vigilance, which is truly important and necessary. For the future, there can be expectations of a continued strengthening of controls, notably through AI and blockchain, to better trace these flows. Some countries are considering banning overly opaque transactions or restricting the use of certain digital currencies. International harmonization will remain a challenge, as each legislation evolves at its own pace. Experts advocate for greater transparency, bank transparency, and for the end of financial secrecy, considering that it would hinder many abuses. Others, on the contrary, fear an impact on economic freedom. The debate remains lively, and the underground economy has not yet ceased to surprise. The road will be long. Here we go. We have covered the main mechanisms of the underground economy, and I hope these explanations help you better grasp what is happening away from the spotlight. It's a complex topic where crime, financial engineering, and social issues intertwine. Better understanding these realities allows us to gain perspective on how these international finances operate and our own choices. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video to support the work done. Thank you all for listening, and see you soon for new topics.